is consider rationale for sequential covering. So in this particular section, what we will be covering is when we were dealing with the sequential covering algorithm. If you remember, this is the example that we had taken. So in this particular sequential covering algorithm, we observed that whenever a particular rule is identified, say consider as in this case when R1 is identified, I had told that we have to remove the records that belongs to R1. So here if you see this, so once I have identified a rule R1 here, and we know the procedure how to identify this, right? So now I have identified this are the examples to be covered under R1. So in the next step, when we were trying to identify rule 2 or thereafter, what did I tell us? We have to remove those records covered by R1, and then among the remaining records we have to identify the rules. Similarly, with respect to R2 also, once when R2 was identified or selected, what we did is we removed those records which was coming under R2 or which was getting covered under R2. Same was with the case of R3 also, right? So why is it so? There's a question, why are we removing these records once it is covered under a particular rule? What happens if we don't remove it? These are the two questions for which we have to get a logical answer. So that is what we are going to cover in this particular section. Okay, so consider this example here. So this is the example which you had considered in the last class to solve one particular problem, right? So here from the observation that we can make, there are three rules, which is R1, R2 and R3. And if I consider this as a training record, here I can tell that there are 29 positive examples present and there are 21 negative examples present, correct? So if I want to talk about R1, I can tell that R1 is covering 12 positive example and 3 negative example. Whereas when I want to tell about R2, I can tell that it is covering 7 positive example and 3 negative example. When we want to tell about R3, we can tell that it is covering 8 positive example and 4 negative examples, right? So this is the observation that we made from this particular given training record here. Now what we do is, let us find accuracy for each rule. Let us find accuracy for each rule as it is. That is, for this particular rule given here, which says R1 is going to cover 12 positive and 3 negative examples. R2 is going to cover 7 positive and 3 negative examples. And R3 is going to cover 8 positive and 4 negative examples, which is evident from this particular selections that is being made here. Okay, so let us move on and find accuracy for each of this. We know the formula to find accuracy. What is it? It is nothing but the ratio of those number of records which matches with the antecedent part as well as the rule part, class label part of the rule from the given rule, and in the denominator you will have only those record which matches with the antecedent part of that particular rule. Okay, so now let us consider rule 1. It says that rule 1 covers 12 positive examples and 3 negative examples. And here our aim is to what? We are going to classify only positive, right, for a particular class label. So what will be more numerator value with respect to R1? Numerator value will be, that is, it should matches antecedent part as well as class label. So how many are such, which means how many are there how many records are there which yields us positive class? There are 12 records, right? So the numerator part will be 12. Antecedent part, when I say antecedent, it is either it is going to give a correct class label or a wrong class label, but I have to need to have only the antecedent part. So in such cases I have to consider both these, right? 12 plus 3. So the accuracy now will be what? Accuracy of R1 will be 12 by 15, which is nothing but 0.8. So hope you have understood how did you get this 12 by 15. This 12 is nothing but according to this rule, it says that it covers 12 positive example, which means there are 12 records which matches both antecedent part as well as class label. And how many are there in total number of records covered by rule 1, which is nothing but antecedent part covered by rule 1. So that is total 15 records are there. Therefore, accuracy value is 12 by 15. Similarly, now consider for R2. R2 is telling that it covers 7 positive example and 3 negative examples, which means number of records that matches both antecedent as well as class level will be 7, and number of records that gets covered by the antecedent part will be 7 plus 3, that is 10. So accuracy will be what? Accuracy will be equal to 7 by 10, which is nothing but 70%. Similarly, find the accuracy for R3. What happens when you find accuracy for R3? So R3 it says 8 positive example, 4 negative example. So numerator value will be 8, denominator value should be 12, right? So accuracy of R3 is what? 66.67%. So these are the accuracy of the 3 rules that is given in the pictorial representation here. And remember students, these accuracy, to find these accuracy, we have considered the records covered by each rule as it is without removing anything. So R1, I have considered this entire box as R1 and have taken these examples and calculated this accuracy. For R2, I have considered this R2 as this entire box to be as R2 and these examples here and calculated the accuracy with respect to the training record. Similarly, for R3, I have considered these without removing these here in the intersection part of R1 and R3. I have not removed it. Without removing, I have considered R3 as a whole and have calculated this accuracy. So that is what we have done. The calculation of accuracy is done here. Okay. So now, what we will do is, based on this accuracies that we have found, what is the order in which we'll be calculating or we'll be taking the rules for the classification purpose? So I'll consider R1, which is 80% accurate, and then I'll consider R2, which is 70% accurate, and then I'll consider R3, which is 66.67% accurate. Okay, so this is without removing the records that belong to one particular rule. Okay, now what we do is, since we have an intersection with respect to R1 and R3, what I'll do is, so I'll remove, in the first case, I will remove the positive class covered by R1. So whatever positive classes covered by R1, say consider I have removed all those positive classes. So in this example, these are here I can see that in the intersection part I have 2 positive examples here. Now, when I remove this R1 completely, when I say R1 completely, it means only positive records of R1 completely. What will be the new accuracy of R3? So, calculate the new accuracy of R3, removing the positive records here of R1. That means even these 2 plus 4 in the intersection part also will be removed. Okay, so and all other plus is removed. I want only to calculate the accuracy of R3. Let R1 be as it is. Okay, so because I have to consider the entire thing for it, right? So in the first case, I have removed positive class covered by R1 and finding the accuracy. Now what will be the accuracy? In the numerator part, I will have those number of records, number of records which wherein antecedent and class label is matching. So how many positive is there in R3 after removing positive of R1? How many positive records are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So there are 6. And what is the total records covered by the rule R3, which includes the negative part also? That means because I have not removed the negative examples of R1 here, these negative examples will also be covered by R3, correct? So it will be what? 6 by 10, right? Why it is 6 by 10? Because 6 positive class, 4 negative class, so it is 6 by 10, 60%. 60%. Previously, if you see now, previously when all the records was considered as it is, the accuracy of R3 was 66.67%. Now when I removed only positive class that belongs to the particular record wherein we had the intersection, I'm getting the accuracy to be as 60%. This 60% is less than actual value what we had got earlier, correct? Which means if you remove only the positive records which are covered by the previous rule, then you might have the new accuracy to be an underestimated value. Underestimation with respect to accuracy is happening here. That is because you have removed only the positive class. So previously it was 66.67%. Now it is 60%. I have a reduced accuracy. And why this happened? That is because I removed only the positive class. Okay. So now say consider you will remove only the negative class. You will remove only the negative class covered by R1. Okay. So you will have only removing the negative class, which means you will remove these two. Now, what will be the accuracy? That will be 8 by 10. Why it is 8 by 10? It's because you have removed this negative, these two records, these two negative here in the intersection part is removed. But apart from that, you have 8 positive class and 2 negative class. So total in total, it is having 10 records being covered by R3. Among the 8 are covering positive records. So I will have 8 by 10, which means the value is 80%. Now when I compare this 80% with the previous value, it is way higher, right? It is very much higher value when compared to 66.67, which means I'm having overestimation here. Why overestimation? Because previously it was 66.67%, now it is 80%, which is very high value. So in the first case, when I removed only positive examples, I had underestimation. And now instead of removing only positive, I removed only negative. I'm going to have overestimation. So there is lots of confusion and conflicts with respect to the removal of either only positive record or only the negative record. So what we would do is, let us try to remove both positive as well as negative example covered and check what will be the accuracy. I think you have understood what is the confusions and conflict. There might the confusion here is, if I remove only positive, I'm having underestimation. I'm myself underestimating the accuracy, because of which I removed only negative, which means that I am overestimating the accuracy. So I am now in between whether to have an underestimation or to have an overestimation. So there is a confusion, and there might some conflict occur with respect to the training set and the test set given to us. So in order to overcome this, what we do is, let us try to remove both the positive and negative example and then calculate the accuracy. So now I have removed both positive and negative examples, and now I'll try to calculate the accuracy. Let's see what it will be when I remove both positive and negative. That is, whatever is there in this intersection part, I remove that and consider R3 now. So when I see R3, if I remove this, in R3 how many I will have? This 3 plus 3 plus 2, which means 8 records I am having. Among the 8 records, how many are positive? 6. So it is nothing but accuracy is nothing but 6 by 8, which is nothing but 75%. Now when you compare this with the initial value, which is 66, there is no much higher, there is no much increase. There's only few amount increase we can find, right? So for this reason, this will actually this is not even overestimation. This is not overestimation is there, but not too much, but not an underestimation, correct? So by removing positive and negative, you are neither having an underestimating nor a higher overestimated value, correct? Therefore this made us to remove both the positive and negative records that is covered by the particular rule in the sequential growth algorithm. I think you have understood the concept of why we were removing both positive and negative records that is covered by a particular rule with respect to sequential covering now. So this is the reason for that particular process in the sequential covering algorithm. Thank you, students. If you have any doubts or queries or for feedback, you can write back to me. Thank you.